Moving day turned into total chaos when I uncovered my stepbrother's hidden family secrets blew up in seconds. So this all happened a couple of weeks ago, and honestly, I still can't wrap my head around it. At 36, M was helping my stepbrother Carl 41M move into his new apartment. Carl's been kind of the golden boy in the family, responsible, hardworking, and everyone's favourite at family gatherings. He's been with his girlfriend, Stephanie, for almost 3 years, and from the outside, everything looked fine. Anyway, moving day started off normal enough. My mom was there. She and Carl's dad got married when we were kids. My younger sister Emily, 29F, came to help, and Stephanie was in charge of organising boxes. Carl was running around barking orders in his usual project manager voice. We rented a U-Haul, and the apartment was on the 3rd floor with no elevator, so yeah, already stressful. The weirdness started when Carl's phone kept buzzing while we were unloading boxes. At first, I thought it was just work stuff he's in sales and is glued to his phone. But then I noticed how jumpy he got every time it buzzed. Like, he'd grab it fast and walk off. Once, he even snapped at Emily when she accidentally picked it up to move it off a chair. "Don't touch my phone, okay?" Emily gave me a look like, "What the hell was that?" and I just shrugged. Later, when we stopped for pizza in the empty living room, Stephanie asked Carl if he'd invited her friend Jessica to help. Carl got really weird and said, "Oh no, she's busy. Why would she even come?" Stephanie just shrugged, but I swear he went pale. Fast forward to the 2nd floor. I went downstairs to grab another box and ran into Jessica in the parking lot. She looked nervous. She asked, "Is Carl upstairs?" When I said yeah, she kind of hesitated, then went up. I didn't think much of it, and maybe she was just there to help, right? But here's where it blew up. I came back up with a box of dishes, and the door was half open. I heard Carl inside, hissing, "You can't just show up here, Stephanie's here." And Jessica yelled back, "You've been ignoring me for weeks, you said you tell her." My stomach dropped. I froze in the hallway holding that stupid box like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I didn't want to be hearing this, but it was too late. Right then, Emily came up the stairs behind me and also caught the tail end of the combo. She mouthed, "Are you hearing this?" I just nodded, wide-eyed. Before we could even process, Stephanie walked over from the kitchen with some cleaning supplies, totally oblivious. She was about to step right into the middle of it, and Emily whispered, "Oh my god, do we stop her?" And that's where everything started spiraling out of control. I swear time slowed down in the hallway. Emily and I just stood there, frozen, like two idiots holding boxes of random kitchen junk while Stephanie marched straight toward the living room. I could hear Carl fumbling, his voice all high-pitched. "Jess, you need to leave now, please." But Jessica wasn't having it. "No, Carl, I'm tired of hiding. You promised to." And then Stephanie walked right in. She looked between them, her face all confused at first. "What's going on?" she asked, setting down the spray bottle in her hand. I wanted to disappear. Emily gave me this desperate side eye, like do we intervene or, but it was too late. Carl's whole cover was unravelling in real time. Jessica straightened her shoulders like she'd been rehearsing this moment. "I'm here because Carl and I have been seeing each other for almost a year." I swear, my heart stopped. Stephanie's face went slack. She blinked like she misheard, then turned to Carl. "What the hell is she talking about?" Carl stammered. It's not like that. Steph, listen." Jessica cut him off. "Don't you dare downplay this. I was with you last weekend. You said you loved me and that you were done sneaking around." Emily actually gasped. Loud. Like in a soap opera. I wanted to strangle her, but honestly, same. Stephanie's face went from confused to devastated in seconds. "Carl, tell me she's lying." And Carl, this coward, just stood there, mouth opening and closing like a fish. Finally, he muttered, I didn't mean for you to find out this way." That was it. That was the nail in the coffin. Stephanie started shaking, her voice breaking. "Are you kidding me? On moving day? After everything I've done for you? After I helped pack your entire life into a box?" Jessica suddenly looked guilty, like she hadn't expected to actually go through with it. She mumbled, "I didn't want it to be like this." Carl snapped back at her. "Then why the hell did you come here?" At this point, my mom, who had been downstairs sulking with the movers, came back up. She opened the door and saw everyone standing there with these stormy faces. "What's going on?" she asked, setting down her purse. Nobody answered, so Emily, bless her chaotic soul, blurted, "Carl's been two-timing Stephanie with Jessica." The room went dead silent. My mom's jaw dropped. Stephanie started crying. Carl yelled, "Emily, shut up." But the damage was already done. Stephanie stormed out of the apartment, brushing past me so hard I almost dropped the box I was still holding. She said to me, not even looking, "Don't let him call me." Then she was gone. Carl tried to chase after her, but Emily blocked the doorway. "No, you don't get to smooth this over with one of your fake apologies. You blew it, Carl." Carl just stood there, fist clenched, looking like a cornered animal. Then he muttered, "You guys don't understand. None of you understand." And honestly, that's when I realised this was way deeper than just one bad decision. After Stephanie stormed out, the energy in the apartment felt like static electricity. You could practically hear it buzzing. Carl slammed the door shut and leaned against it, breathing heavy. Jessica stood by the window, arms crossed, but she wouldn't look at him. Emily and I just hovered in the middle of the chaos, boxes still everywhere, pizza going cold on the floor. Finally, my mom spoke. "Carl, is this true? Have you been seeing Jessica behind Stephanie's back?" Carl ran a hand through his hair, pacing like a caged lion. "It's complicated." Emily scoffed. "Oh my god, the oldest excuse in the book. It's not complicated. Carl, you lied. You snuck around. You're 41 years old. What are you even doing? That's son. I could tell by the way Carl's jaw tightened. You think I wanted this? He snapped. Stephanie and we weren't working. I couldn't breathe around her anymore. Jessica actually listens to me. She gets me. Jessica flinched at that, probably realizing how awful it sounded out loud. My mom shook her head slowly, like she was disappointed but not surprised. So instead of being a man and ending things with Stephanie first, you dragged everyone into your mess on moving day of all days? Hal barked out a bitter laugh. Though, great, here it comes, everyone lining up to judge me, like I'm some criminal. I couldn't hold it in anymore. Carl, no one's saying you're a criminal, but come on, you literally had 2 women collide in your living room because you couldn't be honest. That's not just messy, that's cruel. Jessica finally broke her silence. I didn't want to hurt her. I told you, Carl, I begged you to tell her months ago. Carl turned on her, eyes blazing. And you couldn't wait one damn day. You had to blow everything up while I'm moving my life. Emily jumped in. You mean while Stephanie was moving your life, she did everything for you, and you humiliated her. You don't get to play the victim. Carl's face went red, like he was about to explode. Stay out of it, Emily. You've never even had a serious relationship, so what the hell do you know? That one cut deep. Emily's eyes welled up instantly, and I saw her swallow hard before whispering, at least I'm not destroying the ones I do have. The silence after that was brutal. Even Jessica looked away. I tried to de-escalate. Look, maybe we should take a break. Emotions are high. Let's just finish the move and deal with this later. But Carl wasn't done. He pointed at me. Don't act all high and mighty, men. You've made your mistakes too. It was such a deflection, and everyone knew it. My mom stepped between us before it got physical. Enough, this family is not going to tear itself apart over this. Carl, you need to take responsibility. Not tomorrow, now. That's when Jessica quietly said, almost to herself, if you don't tell the truth, I will. And suddenly, it felt like this was about to get even uglier than I thought. The second Jessica said that, if you don't tell the truth, I will, the whole room froze. Carl whipped his head toward her, eyes wide like she'd just pulled a weapon. Don't you dare, he hissed. Jessica stood taller, her arms crossed. I'm done being your secret, Carl. If you won't come clean, I will. Stephanie deserves to know everything, not just bits and pieces when you get caught. Emily muttered. Finally, someone with a spine. Carl glared at her. Shut up, Emily. His voice cracked so loud it echoed off the bare apartment walls. I stepped in, raising my hands. Carl, enough. Yelling at everyone isn't going to fix us. What truth is she even talking about? Because honestly, man, from where I'm standing, you've already blown up your whole relationship. Carl's face twisted like he was about to say something, then he just clenched his fists and looked down. Jessica shook her head and said softly, he didn't just cheat on Stephanie. He's been telling me he's miserable with her for over a year, that he was going to leave her once he figured things out. He even looked at apartments with me. My mom's jaw dropped. Carl, is this true? Carl finally exploded. Yes, okay, yes, it's true. I couldn't stand being with Stephanie anymore. She wanted to settle down, get married, maybe even have kids. I don't want that. I was suffocating. Jessica was an escape. Emily threw her hands up. Then why the hell didn't you break up with Stephanie months ago, instead? You let her waste 3 years of her life on you. You let her plan a future while you were busy sneaking around with her best friend. That last part hit hard. Jessica's eyes brimmed with tears. Emily cut her off. Don't even. You knew exactly what you were doing. You're not some innocent bystander. Jessica didn't argue, but her silence said enough. Carl started pacing again, muttering to himself. You all think you're so perfect. You don't know what it's like to be trapped. Every time I tried to leave, she cried. She begged me to stay. I didn't know how to walk away without looking like the bad guy. I snapped. Guess what? Carl, you're the bad guy here. You had a choice. You made the worst one. That's when Stephanie's voice came from the doorway. So it's all true. We all spun around. She was standing there, clutching her keys, eyes red from crying but full of fire. I couldn't even make it down the street without realizing I left my wallet, and thank God I did. Carl's face drained of colour. Steph, please, let me explain. But Stephanie didn't let him. She walked right up to him, practically nose to nose, and said in the coldest voice I've ever heard, Explain what? That you wasted my time, that you made me pack your stuff while you planned a future with her. She jerked her head toward Jessica. Jessica tried to speak, but Stephanie shut her down with a glare. You're both disgusting, she spat. And Carl, we're done. I never want to see you again. She shoved her keys into my hand. Take the truck back. I'll Uber home. And with that, she left for good, slamming the door so hard the pizza box flipped off the counter. For a second, no one breathed. Then Emily whispered, Well, guess that's that. But deep down, I knew it wasn't over yet. The door slammed, and the silence afterward was suffocating. All you could hear was the faint hum of the fridge in the kitchen. Carl stood there staring at the door like he could somehow hold Stephanie back. Jessica looked like she wanted the ground to swallow her whole. Emily just shook her head and muttered, Unbelievable. I finally set down the box I'd been holding this entire time and rubbed my temples. Well, congratulations, Carl. You managed to blow up your entire life in under an hour. Carl spun toward me, eyes bloodshot. You think I don't know that? You think I wanted this to happen today? Emily laughed bitterly. Oh, poor Carl, the victim of his own lies. Shut up, Emily, he barked. But my mom stepped between them, her voice firm. Enough, both of you. This isn't helping. She turned to Carl. You need to understand you did this, not Jessica, not Stephanie, not Emily, you. And now you have to deal with the consequences. Carl looked down at the floor. jaw working like he was chewing on 1,000 words he couldn't spit out. Jessica shifted uncomfortably, finally saying, "Maybe I should go." Emily snorted. "You think?" Jessica flinched, grabbed her purse, and headed for the door. But right before leaving, she paused and looked at Call. "You said you were going to choose me. Was that all a lie too?" Call's face softened, and for the first time all day, he looked almost human. "No, I meant it. I didn't think it would happen like this." Jessica gave a sad little laugh. "It never does." And then she left, the door closing quietly behind her. Now it was just us, me, Emily, Mom, and Carl standing in the middle of an apartment that suddenly felt way too small. Emily crossed her arms. "So what's your grand plan now?" "Carl, because Stephanie's gone, Jessica's gone, and frankly, you're on your own." Carl rubbed his face with both hands. "I don't know, okay? I don't know what I'm doing anymore." For a split second, I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. But then I remembered the look on Stephanie's face, the way her voice cracked when she told him they were done, and the sympathy evaporated. Mom sighed heavily. "Carl, I don't care what excuses you have. You need to take some time alone and figure out why you keep sabotaging yourself, because this is," she gestured at the messy apartment, the half-empty pizza box, the scattered boxes. "This is rock bottom." Carl sat down on one of the unopened boxes like his legs gave out. He looked smaller somehow, defeated. "I never meant to hurt anyone," he whispered. Emily scoffed again but didn't say anything. I glanced at Mom. She looked exhausted, like she aged 10 years in one afternoon. "We should just finish unloading and leave him be," she said finally. So that's what we did. No more talking, no more yelling. Just quietly carrying boxes up the stairs, one after another, while Carl sat there in his new apartment surrounded by all his stuff and none of the people he thought would be there. When we were done, Mum hugged him goodbye, but it was stiff formal. Emily didn't even look at him. And me? I just said, "Good luck, men," before walking out. But as I drove the U-Haul back later, one thought kept nagging at me. Carl wasn't finished making a mess. Not by a long shot. The week after moving day felt like a hangover no one could shake. Group chats went silent. My mom barely spoke on the phone, and Emily refused to even mention Carl's name. It was like the family had agreed without saying it that Carl was radioactive. But of course, Carl didn't disappear. 3 days later, he called me. I almost let it go to voicemail, but curiosity and guilt got the better of me. "Hey," I answered flatly. "Can we talk?" His voice sounded rough, like he hadn't slept. I sighed. "About what, Carl? You blew up your relationship, and everyone's furious at you. What else is there to say?" "About fixing things," he said. That set me off. "Fixing things? Carl, you torched everything. Stephanie won't even look at you. Jessica's probably done too. What exactly are you planning to fix?" There was a long pause before he muttered. "Stephanie blocked me, but I think if you talk to her..." I cut him off so fast I almost yelled. "No, absolutely not. I'm not your messenger boy. Carl, you don't get to use me to patch up the hole you drilled in your own boat." He groaned. "I just need her to hear me out, one last time." "Carl," I snapped. "She did hear you out, on moving day, with her best friend standing right there, and you basically admitted everything. What else is there to say?" He didn't answer. Just heavy breathing on the line. Finally, I said, "You need to stop dragging everyone into your drama. Own it. Sit with it. That's the only way you'll learn." And then I hung up. That night, Emily called me. "Did Carl try to rope you into his mess too?" she asked. "Yeah," I sighed. "Wanted me to talk to Stephanie for him." She groaned so loudly I had to pull the phone from my ear. Unbelievable, that man is 41 and still acting like a teenager. I swear, if Mom enables him one more time, I'm done. Turns out, Mom was still taking his calls. She admitted it over Sunday dinner when Carl didn't show. "He's hurting," she said quietly, poking at her mashed potatoes. Emily dropped her fork. "Mom, stop. He's not hurting, he's reaping what he sowed. Big difference." I tried to stay neutral, but even I was tired of Carl's self-pity tour. He needs space and accountability. If you keep babying him, he'll never grow up. Mom frowned, but she didn't argue. Meanwhile, the fallout spread further. Stephanie texted me out of the blue. "Thanks for not covering for him. I know it wasn't easy to watch." That one hit me hard. I wanted to tell her she deserved so much better, but all I replied was, "You didn't deserve any of that, I'm sorry." Jessica, on the other hand, went silent. Rumour from a mutual friend was that she cut Carl off to after realising he wasn't going to leave his chaos behind. So Carl ended up alone in that new apartment, exactly like Mom predicted. And honestly, it was the first time I thought maybe that was the best thing for him. But just when I thought the drama was finally winding down, Carl dropped another bomb on us. The bomb came 2 weeks later, during what was supposed to be a calm Sunday lunch at my mom's. Emily and I were already there, helping her set the table, when Carl walked in uninvited. He looked off with scruffy beard, dark circles under his eyes, wearing the same hoodie from moving day. Emily muttered under her breath, "Here we go," and shot me a look. Carl didn't even say hello. He just dropped into a chair and said, "I need to tell you all something." Mom, ever the peacekeeper, tried to smooth it over. "Carl, maybe you first. We can talk after." "No," he cut her off. "This can't wait." The room went tense. Emily rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might stick. "What now? Did you ruin another relationship in record time?" Carl ignored her. He stared at the table, then at Mom, then at me. Finally, he said, "I asked Jessica to move in with me." I swear, the sound of Emily's fork clattering against her plate was louder than his words. She practically shouted, "Are you kidding me? After everything?" Carl held up his hands. I know how it sounds, but we talked. She said she still loves me. She wants to give us a real chance. Mom looked devastated. Carl, what about Stephanie? She's still grieving this breakup, and now you're making it permanent with Jessica. She doesn't want me, Mom, Carl snapped. She made that clear. Jessica does, and I'm tired of being judged for wanting to be happy. That set Emily off. Happy? Happy? You destroyed 2 women's lives, embarrassed this entire family, and now you're parading a little grand like it's some grand love story? Carl's voice cracked as he shot back. It's not anymore. It's real. I love her. The silence that followed was suffocating. I finally asked, Carl, are you actually sure about this, or are you just clinging to Jessica because you're scared of being alone? His eyes flaked to me, and for a second, he looked like a little kid. I don't know, he admitted softly. But I can't lose her too. Emily scoffed and pushed back her chair. You already lost all of us. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard the silverware rattled. Mom was crying now, quietly dabbing her eyes. Carl, I will always love you, you're my son, but I can't support this, not after the way it started. Hal's face hardened again, like he'd built a wall. Fine, then I guess I'll figure it out on my own. He stood up and walked out, leaving the front door wide open behind him. I closed it slowly, my stomach in knots. Mom whispered, he's going to regret this. And maybe he would. Maybe Jessica really would move in. Maybe it would implode in 6 months, or maybe by some miracle it would work. But as I sat back down at that table with Mom, staring at Carl's untouched plate, I realised something. No matter how this played out, the version of our family we'd once known was gone. And Carl was the one who broke it.